What industry do you consider to be legal? Organized crime? Yelp. Advertise your business with them to increase engagement and gain positive reviews. But when you stop advertising, they suppress positive reviews and promote negative reviews. Plus, they're huge dicks about it. I had a guy from Yelp bug the shit out of me when I didn't want to pay for their service. So he started telling me that they were going to put banners for my competitors directly above my listing. I toms him. I didn't care, because I've only ever had one person contact me because of Yelp. So he just told me that my business will definitely fail without them, because it didn't seem like I was savvy enough to hack it. Cable TV companies that have eliminated the competition in an entire town. Many cities have laws that there can't be competition. Originally was sold as a way to get cable companies to build the infrastructure with the promise of a short-term monopoly. Decades later, they still have the monopolies. Same with electric companies that have a monopoly. We can technically go with another company for the supply, but the servicing and billing will still be with the one electric company in our area. Their billing mistakes are legendary. We once got a bill for a month's electric for $14,000. This is for our small business, where the monthly charge is usually about $850. When we called and pointed out the error, after being on hold off and on for about 4 hours, they weren't even apologetic. I was so happy to cut ties with Spectrum. First I did a cellular 4G internet, had a 200 GB monthly limit, which kinda sucked, but after a few months it didn't really adhere to that. Now I've got Verizon 5 and it is almost flawless. Lobbying, here block TurboTax, paid health insurance. I've used TurboTax for a lot of years. Last year, when I was filing, it had a bug that prevented me from filling my taxes. They never fixed the bug, ended up using free taxes. Cheaper, easier to use, no bugs. You just said lobbying 4 times. Pharmacy benefit management, the root cause behind why it is impossible to get honest and transparent drug pricing. This 100 should be at the top. Source. I'm a pharmacist edit. Just to spread awareness, some insurance companies, Caramark for example, own the pharmacies themselves, Kevies and the cells, CVs, and the PBI, pharmacy benefit. Vertical monopoly should be illegal. Comment below, dropped this amazing video hat piece, and so many people don't know what they are or that they even exist. Pow, 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 suck. Printer inks. This needs more attention. It's extortion. The newer the printer, the worse they are. Chips that require brand name ink and toner to be used. Refusal to print in black and white until you buy yellow. Toner quantity determined by number of pages printed, not amount of toner used. We have analyzers at work that only print in black and white, but since the printer they chose was the only one ever approved for that analyzer, we have to use it. We have to use it. We have to stock all the color toners even though they have never been used. That, however, does not keep the color toner from gradually migrating into the waste toner cartridge. Any government with any level of competence would outlaw this. If you don't print often, buy a cheap laser printer. The ink will last years and it just works. No more clogged up nozzles or dried ink, just turn it on and print. In college, I found it was cheaper for me to purchase a new printer every time they went on sale at Walmart than to buy ink since I had the small portable ones. I would save $10, $20 this way. In grad school, I went through 6 printers over 4 semesters. It's ridiculous. Civic asset forfeiture. The Church of Scientology. Dude literally wrote to the doctrine of the church while strung out on meth in a hotel in Los Angeles. Wrote like 50 shitty books. Chose one and was like, let's make this a religion. Everyone, pay me, and somehow it worked. The more you read about Scientology, the more horrifying it is. Their Sea Org thing is basically slave labor on international waters. L. Ron Hubbard admitted in a letter to a friend 2 or so years before he designed Dianetics that the plan was to create a religion for profit because people are stupid enough to believe anything for the sake of security. How can even the most powerful of Scientology leaders see that and think, well, time to cover it up knowing they're being exploited as much as the people they, in turn, exploit? Ticketmaster. This. I had just bought 2 ticks and paid a service fee. Last minute I couldn't go and resold back on Ticketmaster, trying to just get what I paid back. Ticketmaster took another 15 from me and from the new buyer. Triple dipped, won 1 ticket. It's absurd. I scrolled for a while and did see it. so I'll throw out ISP's cable providers. They are almost literal monopolies who try their best to pretend they are something else, to get legal protections they don't deserve. And the absolute cheek of some of the bastards too. I left an apartment a few years ago. I called to cancel the internet. They tried making me pay $50 for the privilege. Like, dude, I know exactly what's involved for you to do this. I'm not paying $50 for it. It'll be off my credit report in a year or so. Never paid it. It's the principle. Anything based around and mum. Funny and sad story. Guy that sits at the desk opposite to mine that works for a different company, as we are all contractors. We always chat a little as he is kinda fed up with his company and was asking about ours. Anyway, he goes into his life story of how a mound company convinced him to cash out all his 400 ONIC, sell his house, and the promise of being his own boss, making lots of money, etc. A year in, he is only making like $500 per month and can't afford to live, so he gets the job. He has now to make a living. He had a great job before all this. Said he now has no retirement, is renting and barely is getting by per month. He is married and has like 3 kids. My entire thoughts during this were, damn, this guy was not only naive, but stupid to buy into this garbage. How is it that this mom convinced him to screw his life over? Made my skin crawl as I hate mountains, but this was a first for me. The most insane thing is that they still work. Back in the 90s and early 2000s, we were all too naive to realize what was going on. With all the information we have now, I can't believe people still sign up for mums. I hate mum so much. I recently found out that someone I thought was my friend was really only keeping me around because I can afford the ugly clothes she peddles. Payday loan. Yes, they are despicable, and the laws that enable them. I hate payday loans, but when I was in a place in my life where I used those for a while, there was zero chance any other person or business would lend me a dime. I was a terrible credit risk, but I needed quick cash to tide me over. If we're going to abolish these places, then someone needs to come up with a replacement. I scrolled for a while and was surprised not to see the online gambling industry, the offline gambling industry too. As a MetLife customer service representative, insurances came to say this. Insurance is one of the only industries where it is perfectly ok to do many dodgy things. Share information about customers between companies. Insurance companies tell each other when you make a claim and what it was and what the result of that claim is. In any other industry, that's illegal when you pay their price and use their product exactly as intended. To make a claim when something bad happens. Then they put the price up next year. And if you try to go to one of their competitors, they go, but company A says you made a claim, so therefore the price is the same here for you. In many other industries, that's illegal, but in insurance, it's accepted as normal. They get away with discriminating based on protected characteristics. Studies have shown black people who live in the same areas will be generally given higher quotes than white people, for example. Insurance companies say it's based on other factors in their personal history of court. In many cases, you are forced to have insurance, so you cannot refuse to pay their rates, regardless of how much your rates go up. In the UK, for example, you must have car insurance to drive. But if you have some random trash your car one night through no fault of your own, you have to pay loads more for years because you lose your no-claim bonus for 5 years. Lack of competition. It looks like there is loads of competition with all the different companies on offer, but in reality, like many industries, there are only a handful in most countries behind all the brand names, which are usually run by only a couple of people. So they can all keep their rates comparable very easily and share data. Insurance as a concept is a good idea. Insurance as an industry is a massive scam. Edit, for those of you who missed the last line, maybe read my comment in full. I'm not saying having insurance is a bad idea. I'm saying the way the industry is run in most countries is a scam. Having insurance in case your house burns down, or so you can cover someone's medical bills in a car accident, is a good thing. And I'm sorry to all you Americans who have to deal with medical insurance. But to all of you who have assumed I'm in the US, I'm not. But I'm very glad I don't have to deal with that particular insurance nightmare that you all do. It's horrible hearing replies from people who have had corporations decide what medical treatment their family could have. Insurance is like the mafia, paying for the illusion of protection. Ticketmaster. They buy their own tickets and sell them at a markup. They are scalpers. Lobbyists. Yeah, the idea behind lobbying makes sense in theory. Congress members can't be experts on everything. If Congress is all voting on a measure regarding the environment or gun safety, it makes sense to have people who work in those fields coming to provide their expert advice to Congress so they can make an informed decision. Somewhere along the line, it just morphed into legalized bribery. It's weird how they work in the US vs the rest of the Western world. In the US, a lobbyist meets with a majority of congressmen and senators and talks with them on political issues with a bag full of money. In much of the Western world, corporate and union donations are banned, so when lobbyists meet with politicians, it's literally just to make a compelling argument for their cause. The student loan industry is BS. That's what happens when the Gov guarantees loans and colleges no longer have any reason to keep tuition the same. They get paid from the gate, and the Gov is the one who collects interest from its own taxpayers. College in the US as a whole is best for the most part, let's be honest. Diamonds. It's not really an industry, but the whole management of football in Europe seems to be corrupted to the bone. The bottled water industry. I'll take your water, and when you get thirsty, you buy my water. Tow truck companies, legally allowed to steal your vehicle and force you to pay exorbitant fees to get it back. My roommate had his truck stolen. The police called him, and he picked it up. Minor damage to the steering column and the grille, where they drove it into a snowbank. The insurance company wanted to pick it up with a tow truck and inspect it before authorizing repairs. So I drive him to the yard and they tell him the truck is beyond repairs and they want to give him $7,000 for the truck he owes $11,000 on. He is pissed. I walked into the yard. I found his truck and the whole cab is smashed in. He had pictures from 2 days before, after he had gotten it back, that showed it was in good condition. They ended up paying for an identical truck. I think it was around $15,000. They also seem to hire the most surly people available. Did you get fired from your last 6 customer service jobs for being rude? You're a perfect fit. Back when I was a poor college student, my car somehow burned down in the parking lot while I was at a rehearsal inside. The car got towed and it took me a long time to sort out where it got towed. When I got there, they wanted something like $500. When they told me the price, I immediately gave up on the car. I didn't have that kind of money, and even if I did, the car was a total piece of junk before it ever even caught fire. So anyway, I told them they could have it. I just needed my laptop and iPod from inside. The assads wouldn't even let me lay eyes on the car until I paid out the $500. The only 2 things I owned apart from clothes, and the only thing I needed in order to continue being a student. I had to go weeks of eating ramen to eat that cost. It felt like such an injustice. The people I spoke to were so desensitized, I just knew they saw this sort of thing all the time. Probably had no sympathy left. Anyway, it's crooked. My senior year of college, I lived in a fraternity house, which was owned by a leasing company, and they also owned the parking lot and sold passes for almost $1,000. I went home one weekend, and when I came back, I parked in the lot for 1 minute, I shit you not, to drop off my laundry and my backpack upstairs. When I got to my room, I heard the loud beeps of a truck backing up, which is never a good sign, and so I looked out the window and saw a tow truck backing up towards my car. I ran down as fast as I could, but he was already hooking up my car. To make a long story short, I was fuming mad. He was apathetic and didn't care that I was only there to drop off a couple things, so I wouldn't have to carry it all from the lot I park at, which is 2 miles away. I ended up having to pay $100 as a drop fee for him to unhook my car. He also told me I could pay in cash for a discount. I paid him with a card. He unhooked my car. Then I told him to go fuck himself, and I called him to go fuck himself, and I called my card company to do a chargeback. Tow trucks are the biggest scam in the world. The American prison system. America's health industry. Insurance and pharmaceuticals. Us, Congress, insider trading. All insurance companies, especially health. The wedding industry. Host, us. Mega churches, religion in general, but those mega churches and their TV preachers begging money from poor suckers just infuriates me to no end.